The last time I was in the garden, I saw some ripe bell peppers, and I'm thinking it's time to make some stuffed bell peppers. I've got my basket. Let's go harvest. Garden's been going like crazy. We are in harvest season for sure, and I have peppers that are ready to be picked. I have a ton of peppers that are ripe and ready here, and we are going to pick as many as we can and do some stuffed peppers. So here are my beautiful peppers. There are different varieties of ripeness, but it doesn't matter. I think they taste the same either way. It's really hard for me to get red peppers, but they're just gorgeous. I was able to get a beautiful harvest from the garden, and they're different colors and different shapes, but it doesn't matter because I think it all tastes the same. I can't tell the difference. I'm also in zone 4, so getting a red ripe tomato is pretty difficult, and I find that if I harvest them earlier when they're still in the green stage, they obviously have a little bit better shelf life when they're green. So now we're going to move into getting these processed. We are going to blanch and slightly cook these, and then we're going to create a filling. So what I'm going to do, what my easy recipe is when I'm in a pinch, is to simply use Manwich and bake them in the oven with some cheese. So that's what we're going to do. So let's go to the stove and get cooking. First thing we're going to do is brown up some hamburger to make the Manwich. Once we have the hamburger browned, we want to remove the excess oil, so we'll drain that off. The next thing we want to do is add in our Manwich. I like the original recipe, but there's several to choose from. You'll put that in, you're going to stir it, follow the directions. You're going to simmer on a medium heat for 10 to 15 minutes. Once you have the Manwich sauce all mixed in, like it is here, then this is the time if you wanted to add additional ingredients to do that. So you could add in rice. Make sure you use equal rice and water, and then simmer it for 5 to 10 minutes until the rice has absorbed all of the liquid. And it's just a way to make it stretch and go further. What we want to do is rinse these off. So I like using this above sink colander that keeps my food from touching down below, which is really nice. And we'll wash these up and go on to the next step. Now that we have the peppers washed, we're going to take the caps off, or what we call the cap, which is the head part where the seeds are stored. To do that, I'm simply going to cut around it. I want to try to maintain as much of the pepper as possible. And then I'm just going to wiggle it free so you can get all the seeds out of there. And I have a scrap plate here. Then you're going to slice them in half, the best you can. And then you're going to continue to clean out the ribs and any extra seeds that are left. And put them in your scrap bucket or your compost. As a kid, I never ate peppers, but now I crave them when it gets to pepper season and to be able to do some baked peppers. They also store well. Once we have them sliced, we're going to take them to the stove and boil them for 8 minutes. So you want to bring the water up to a boil, and then we are going to place the peppers in there, and we'll set a timer for 8 minutes. So it's hot, so you might want to use a tongs to protect your hands and so you're not splashing. I'm going to get these beautiful peppers in this water. If you were going to simply blanch the peppers to put in the freezer, you would blanch them for 3 to 5 minutes, let them boil, put them in an ice bath to cool them down, and then package them as usual to go into your freezer. But they do heat up really nice if you want to use them later in the winter as well. So now we're going to set the timer. All right. We are at the end of our time, and we are going to start taking these peppers out. All I do is simply pick them out, and I'll put them in a colander. Get most of that water off them. I'll move them into the colander. They're very, very hot, so be careful. We have our freshly blanched peppers. Let's go stuff them. With our freshly cooked peppers, we are going to now stuff them. So I'm going to move them. You could use the tongs if you need to, if they're too hot to handle. Some of them are warm, some of them are hotter than I'd like. I'm simply going to line the baking dish with the peppers, the halves, and then we're going to add our meat filling. Now you can use any meat filling you want. This is just my hack for the easiest way to do it, which is using Manwich, and we love Manwich in our house. Since I know the large can of Manwich, which takes 2 pounds of meat, will go well to fill this particular baking tray, this is what I'm going to do to try to shove as many of them in here as I can. I'd have to rearrange them to get them set the way I want. It's like putting a puzzle together. Okay, I've got the empty shells in here, and now we're going to add the meat filling. I like using a slotted spoon to do this to let some of that extra grease drain out. I did drain the grease, but you just never, you just always have a little bit extra. And I like to have that drained out. I don't want that extra fat in there. I'm just going to try to put a little in each one for now. We are going to top this with a bunch of cheese as well. I want to make sure I have enough to go around. And when you use your when you cook your hamburger, depends on what your fat content is. This meat I bought directly from a butcher, and it's like a 95%. It'll be a little different when you cook it, depending on how lean your meat is. Rearrange these a little bit. Really want the shell to be holding and cupping the meat as much as you can. Rearrange them a little bit. The last step is to add cheese. You can add any cheese that you want. I usually take whatever I have available. Today it happens to be mozzarella. I had a bunch in the freezer. This is about 2 to 3 cups of shredded mozzarella, and I'm going to give it a generous helping. Get it all topped off. It looks wonderful. You could add extra seasoning at this time too if you wanted. You could make it more of an Italian flavor, or you can make it a Mexican flavor, add more chilies and stuff like that. Stuff it any way you want. It's all ready to go in the oven. So I've set the oven for 350. It is preheated, and we are going to bake this for 30 minutes. I find that this recipe is a great solution if you want to rid pasta out of your diet. I like to use the peppers as if they were pasta shells, and we frequently will eat them this way, and it helps to lower our carbohydrate intake, and it looks wonderful. Let's get them in the oven. Ooh, fresh out of the oven, and it looks great. I can just smell it. It smells wonderful. If this doesn't smell like autumn, I don't know what does. Just absolutely beautiful. The colors are autumny. Let's give it a taste. Take one of the red ones. It is hot. And now it's time for the taste test. It's pretty hot yet. Hopefully I don't burn my mouth. And the cheese is all melty. It looks so good. It's really, really good. It's awesome. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up so YouTube knows to share this content with others. Also, check my Garden to Table playlist in the description below. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day.